eventually when people make the choice for you, they're not going to live in that choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going to live in the choice. So you have to know that it's not every offer that you are given that you need to accept. And nobody should make the choice for you, because it's going to be your life, your choice at the end of the day. If anything goes wrong, you're going to have to solve the problem. So don't let anybody create problem for your own life for you. Today we'll be talking about an interesting topic. I consider it to be interesting because there are different angles to the topic, you know. There are people who take this topic seriously, spiritually, and it's all about fire from heaven, pray, to address the spiritual issue and all. But the truth is that we know that the issue is not always a spiritual issue. Sometimes it's even a God factor. In a person's journey in life, and the topic is marital delay.
Marital delay. So
what is marital delay? Well, basically when there is this expectation that at so age a person should be married, and then it doesn't happen, and then time has passed and the person has passed that age, and it's like, what's happening? You know the way it is now in most cultures, especially Africa, even India, those collective cultures with collectivism. There's always this pressure, like, okay, you are 23 as a girl, we should be seeing the person that is going to be the one.
Yeah, but is it only for women, or does it happen for
I think it
men
happens
too?
both ways, but it starts earlier for women.
Okay.
There's a younger age expectation for women. If a guy is 23 and you're telling him, most likely nobody will tell him that. People will be telling him to also more, become a big boy. But when he's getting to a particular age, maybe like late 30s, people are like, what's up? Where's the girl? So it happens earlier, I believe.
Okay, true. And you mentioned something there. You said pressure. Now, what kind of pressure? Where does the pressure come from?
Pressure comes from everywhere. In fact, if the pressure doesn't come from outside, you perceive it, because there's the family pressure.
Okay.
There's the parents, siblings, whoever represents family.
Okay.
What if you have somebody who, there's even this interesting case of people who have to wait for their older one to marry and they're ready, and it can be very complex.
There's family pressure.
There's family pressure. There's friends.
Okay.
Friends for me. Okay, because I made up my mind that I wasn't going to date except I was sure this was the person I was going to.
Come on now.
How are you feeling like? I made up my mind that I wasn't just going to do trial and error, emotional baggage here and there. I just wanted to be sure that, okay, this is likely to be the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. That's when dating is going to come up for me. So if it wasn't that, we can be friends. I had male friends. And whenever it was crossing that line, I didn't like it, because it doesn't make the friendship go smoothly again sometimes, or most times, But ultimately, there were people who maybe, even when I was in uni, I had boyfriends or girlfriends, and I wasn't doing that, but I had friends. I kept friends, which is always very important. But eventually, many of those people didn't necessarily marry the same person they were dating at the time.
Yeah, true.
So there's no need for pressure, because eventually at the right time, what should happen will happen.
Okay.
Because what comes to mind is the story of Abraham.
Okay.
That's a story of delay in childbearing. It's not marriage, but it's childbearing, but we can learn from it. Eventually, we see how God came through for him, but God tested him with that issue that he had, So sometimes when we go through these things, it's not the work of the enemy. It's a way that it requires us to trust God more and more, and know that he knows the end from the beginning. Walking with God on a journey, it's not all about marriage at the end of the day. Marriage is beautiful and it's important, but if you can picture that God has you in mind and it's going to happen at the right time, you just walk towards it and make sure that at the time when it's not happening, you just engage yourself. Get busy with other things that you should be doing.
Okay, so you mentioned family pressure, friends.
Yeah.
What other kind of pressure?
Maybe general society expectation, because sometimes you just see it happening everywhere, and maybe without saying it, there's the expectation. You feel pressure without even anybody saying it to you. But it's better we feel secure in every situation we find ourselves in, especially when we can. If you trust God, you'll be settled from within. The peace will come from inside out. You kind of know that I'm in alignment with God. I'm where I should be at this time.
So do you think people put themselves under pressure also?
Yes, absolutely. But I think even if they didn't want to, there are a lot of reasons out there for them to put themselves under pressure.
Reasons like?
Like I said earlier, people getting married, things happening. So it has to come, each person has to come to a point where he or she knows inside out what is most important per time. And we need to learn from people these days. One, people get married for the wrong reasons and then it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Then there are people who get married much later and we can see how happy they are. It depends. And even later, it's relative. For some young women, they want to achieve a particular level of, career success so that they can move on with that after marriage before they even get married in the first place. So everything is relative eventually, but we know when it begins to get to a particular extreme, maybe when the person gets to the 40s, we begin to be concerned that, okay, are you really interested in getting married, or is there really an issue? But everybody should just know inside of them that, on the inside of them, that part time, that, okay, I am fine, and be prayerful.
Okay.
I am fine. I am at peace with God, and I have a word from God that is in control. We have to come to that point where we are settled on our inside, so that what is on the outside is not what shakes us or moves us. We have to live inside out.
Okay.
To be able to withstand all the situation.
Like spirit. Oh,
okay, so what should I say?
So, my question is, what is the cause of delay?
How do you mean the cause of delay?
So, we're talking about marital delay, right?
Yeah.
So, are there things that causes the delay?
Yeah, actually. When we started, we talked about the spiritual angle. So we talked about the fact that sometimes it's actually spiritual. And but many times in Africa, we focus on the spiritual angle, but it's not always just spiritual. Sometimes some people are not even mentally ready. And when they grow beyond that stage and they eventually, it happens for them, they look back and they're like, I'm so happy it didn't happen to me at that time. So sometimes God protecting us from what, we would just probably abuse if it's handed to us way too early. And, that could cause it. Some people just don't want it, like we said before. And I don't know what else could cause it. Spiritually, mental readiness, people not even wanting it in the first place. And well, I don't know, those are the three things that come to mind. If you have experience on this, you can talk about it in the comment section. We'd love to hear about it.
I think one of the things that readily comes to mind is the fact that this probably speaks more to those who desire it, because you cannot have a delay if there's no desire for it, right? And that expectation can be the source of frustration sometimes. And it's a good thing to desire marriage. It is absolutely desirable. By God's grace, I'm enjoying my marriage, and so I wish people would enjoy the same. And to everyone that is experiencing delay in one form or the other, I truly pray that God will come through for you, and that you become all that you need to be for the person that you want to attract and the person that is designed for you. There is power in desiring marriage. There's power in desiring to marry right. But when there is delay, I think two things one can easily do is always, because we are people of faith, you can pray about that. But one key thing that I also think people should do is to examine themselves. Because now there can be delay for for different reasons. It could be that someone had bad experiences before, and unknowingly create a wall
blockade, like,
that doesn't even make attract people.
yeah.
And really, um, there is one of incompatibility. I mean, people are coming, but they're like, this is not my kind of person. And there are those that nobody's even coming, right? And so there are two streams there, and we can look at each streams separately and provide um insight into that, or knowledge. And I think those are things we can also take session to look
to
at.
break down,
Yes.
because really, like you mentioned, it's relative.
Mm.
What is delay for someone might not be delay for another person.
Mm.
And for some people, these things happen. Like for you, you probably you always say that you weren't even expecting to get married at the time.
I wasn't thinking about marriage. The only thing
and
I knew,
yeah,
the only thing I knew then was that I just felt like, okay, if I didn't marry early, I was going to marry quite late. But I was not thinking marriage. I mean,
and then it happened.
and then
Well, some
it
people are
happened really
thinking it, and
fast.
then and then it's not happening.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it's the same principle we can apply to every area of our lives, that things don't happen the same way for everybody.
Yeah.
But we need to own our own situation, understand it, appreciate it, and move in that pace. Learning from people, celebrating people, but enjoying our own process because it's ours,
So, are you saying trying to expect things to happen the way it has happened for others for you can be a cause of delay?
No, not a cause for delay. Expecting things to happen the way it happens for other people can just make you depressed or sad. Just focus on your own journey.
Yeah.
And your walk with God. We're all different. We're all different. Things happen for people at different times.
Yeah.
Some people get married, they have kids early. Some don't have kids early.
Yeah.
Some don't get married early.
Yeah.
Some do. Some get to school early. Some, things happen. Success comes at different times for people.
Yeah.
So I think the same principle of understanding that these things happen differently for everybody should apply also to marriage.
Yeah.
It's going to happen for different people at different times.
Yeah.
And eventually it's all about looking at your journey with God, understanding that you're walking with God, appreciating your own journey, celebrating yourself on the journey.
Yeah.
And eventually you will get to your destination.
Yeah, and I think one thing that readily comes to mind is that delay is not denier.
Yep.
And the Bible says God makes all things beautiful in its time. And I think that is the one thing that everyone in the waiting period should note for themselves, that it's going to happen, and it's going to happen in a beautiful way, especially if you wait and understand while you're waiting the kind of marriage you want for yourself, the kind of values you want for your home. It might even be that until some of those things are understood and internalized by you, you might not even be able to adequately know the kind of person you want and the kind of home you want. Sometimes it could be an opportunity for internal retrospect, where you can define the values of the person you want, your own values, see how you align, and paint pictures of the kind of home you would expect to have with the spouse that you're waiting for. And God makes all things beautiful in His time, and it is truly true that a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. And here we're talking about marriage. We're not just speaking about relationship. And really, sometimes people meet people and they have a relationship and it fails. And even though if a relationship fails, the relationship is still a success in a way, because it achieves its purpose, and you might be able to know that I'm not compatible with this person. But more importantly, when it comes to the marriage delay in itself, sometimes people are dating, they are meeting people, and they've been heartbroken severally and all that. People in that window, I think it's an opportunity in itself to define and to know who you are, who you want to be with, what the values you hold as I, and the value you expect those people to hold I also. And obviously, we cannot exhaust this, but those two things really are things that came readily to mind as we speak. Delay is not denial, and God makes all things beautiful in His time. There are people that I've known and you know that got married almost in their 50s, and they're very, very happy and they're very fine. You never know what could have happened if they've married early. And there are people who also married young and they're very fine. And I've also had people who married and 2 years, three down the line, they were really regretting the action they took. Some of them had to do it out of pressure, but it's never good to do something out of pressure.
It's not worth it.
You should have joy about it. You should have the peace of God about it. Those things are very, very important, and people should not really allow the pressure. The pressure is real. It might be that we need to have another time where we'll talk about what people need to do. I mean, you probably have more experience than me in that. But we may need to have sessions or videos that speak to what people can do while other people are coming in and bringing the pressure, family, friends, and all this kind of stuff.
We'll do a video on that. Basically, it starts with you knowing what you want and staying on it. Because eventually, when people make the choice for you, they're not going to live in that choice. They're not going to live in the choice. So you have to know that it's not every offer that you are given that you need to accept, and nobody should make the choice for you, because it's going to be your life, your choice at the end of the day. If anything goes wrong, you're going to have to solve the problem. So don't let anybody create problem for your own life, for you. You know, define everything you want. And most importantly, work with God. You know, you have this peace and understanding that I'm where I should be at this time. And God is going to work out the rest, you know, every other area of my life. So we'll make it into a bigger topic and, you know, we'll bring it to you. So I think basically we've talked about the fact that this thing could be spiritual. But more importantly, people should always pray, because there's a spiritual angle to it, you know, like maybe any form of delay generally in our lives, we don't want it. But more importantly, we should understand that there is life beyond, you know, being married, and we should live our lives walking with God, trying to fulfill purpose on that journey. You know, eventually pay attention to who you are, try and understand yourself, interpret your person, try and understand your limitations or things that could be hindering you, so that you can deal with them, define your values to prepare yourself for what is coming, so that, because that was what helped us recognize each other. It wasn't bish bish.
It
was values, conversation. We couldn't stop conversing. That was it. That was it. So that's going to really help you.
There was a lot of alignment there, and I think it's very, very important to also say things like this, where I think people need to also know marriage would not make you extra happy. Just like you don't need someone to complete you. You should be complete. Marriage is not 50-50. It's 100%, 100%. It is 1 times 1. It is not half, really.
All complete human beings meeting each other.
to be fair, you get married, it is responsibility. There is joy in it, there is beauty in it.
So which is
10,000 and one would chase 1,000. So there is the joy, there is the peace in it, there is the fun in it. I mean, Bible even says it's not good to to be alone. You understand? But you want to make sure that you, in yourself, you're complete. So you're not trying to get married just because you are lonely. No, it might not cure. It might not cure your loneliness.
It won't.
Yeah.
It's not likely to. You still have to. It's better you even take the time now to find out not to be lonely, so that when you come into marriage, you know, it's just, you know, helping each other in fulfilling purpose. If you want to find out not to be lonely in marriage, the person that will come and pick you inside the pit of loneliness and bring you out is rare. So you want to be whole.
You want to be whole. I think it's about that wholeness
Yeah.
from the two parties that makes the thing work.
Yeah.
It's not about this is my weakness. I need this person to
Become my
to
strength.
become my strength. Now, obviously, there are areas where we would all compensate for each other. But when I'm speaking in particular to life, your person, how you live your life, what you believe of yourself. You know, it is very, very important to know that someone else is not going to come and change your world and make it all beautiful.
Yeah, you're going to change somebody's world. Somebody will change your own world too.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring you something, who you are, your values, your person. The person is going to appreciate it, and not perfection. We're not talking perfection.
Yeah, no, not at
We're just
all.
talking about wholeness. You know, where you're fine with you. You know, so we believe this was very strategic, and God wants to use it to inspire, encourage, and confirm some things to people out there. So if this was you, we pray that God continues to minister into your heart and strengthen you on this journey. And as we all wait on God in one area of our lives or another, we receive the strength and the grace to do so, trusting that in due time our miracle will manifest.
It will surely manifest.
Amen.
He makes all things beautiful in His time. And He's going to work it out for you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.